You want to lose weight. So why can the most common habit, stepping on the scale every day, be sabotaging exactly what you want? If I could remove one anxiety trigger from fat loss, it would be daily weigh-ins. Not because the scale is bad, but because it's blind to what matters. It shows a raw number and convinces you that number equals progress. In real life, your body changes day to day for reasons that have nothing to do with fat. Here's what happens: you wake up, step on the scale, and see a higher number. Your brain reads it as failure. Frustration rises, guilt rises, stress rises. Chronic stress changes your behavior and physiology: worse sleep, more snacking, stronger reward cravings, training without recovery, impulsive choices. This sabotage isn't magic, it's predictable. Healthy fat loss is slow. Most people don't lose real fat daily. What changes fast is water, intestinal contents, and inflammation. So day to day, you're not measuring fat, you're measuring fluctuations. And then you get hooked on a scoreboard that moves for random reasons. Let's break down the biggest traps behind daily weight swings. 1. The big early illusion: water dropping. When you start a structured eating plan, the scale often drops fast in the first few days. It feels exciting, but much of it is water. The body stores carbohydrates as glycogen, and glycogen pulls water with it. Cut ultra-processed foods and refined carbs, and you empty part of those stores. The scale drops quickly. Then the water is gone, the scale slows, and your mind concludes, I stopped losing weight. You didn't, the easy fluid phase ended. 2. The dinner out effect: hidden salt and retention. You can do everything right all week and still wake up 0.5 to 1 kilogram heavier after a salty meal. That's not fat. That's retention. Sauces, seasonings, processed meats, snacks, foods with glutamate, even some medications, sodium hides everywhere. And it gets worse with salt plus sugar, which amplifies retention and creates a weight roller coaster. You think you ruined everything, but it was just water. Hormones. For women, the scale can be an unfair game. Many women retain fluid at specific times in their cycle. You can be losing fat and still see the number climb for a few days. If you don't understand the pattern, you punish yourself, cut food too hard, overdo training, and create a stress loop that makes everything worse. 4. Cortisol. The number can literally be stress. The scale goes up, you get irritated. Irritation increases stress. Stress worsens sleep. Sleep worsens hunger. Hunger worsens discipline. The scale becomes the first domino. Many people don't need more willpower. They need to stop torturing themselves with a bad indicator. 5. Fat can disappear where the scale can't see. You don't lose fat only on the outside. The body can reduce fat in internal regions before your visible shape changes much. That's good for your health. Fat around organs, more tied to metabolic risk, can drop even when your weight doesn't. If you rely only on the number, you may quit right when the process starts doing the most important work. 6. Muscle, the weight you want to gain. Lift weights, eat enough protein, improve your lifestyle, and you can gain lean mass. Lean mass has weight. You can lose fat and not see it on the scale. Or your weight can rise while clothes fit looser, posture improves, and metabolism becomes more efficient. The scale calls it the same. Your body calls it a win. 7. Training and inflammation. The post-workout paradox. After a harder workout, especially early on, your body holds fluid to repair micro-tears. You get mildly inflamed as part of adaptation. Result: weight can rise for 24 to 72 hours. You do the right thing and the scale punishes you. If you don't know this, you conclude exercise doesn't work and you quit. 8. Sleep, a variable that shifts appetite fast. 1 week of poor sleep changes hunger, energy, stress tolerance, and the pull toward sugar and snacks. That's not laziness, it's biology. Poor sleep also means worse training recovery, more fluid retention, more anxiety. Again, the scale reflects chaos, not fat. 9. Medications and underlying conditions. Some medications increase appetite, change fluid retention, and interfere with metabolism. Conditions like hypothyroidism can stall progress if not treated properly. Then people blame themselves, press the brake harder, and worsen what's already hard. The first step isn't punishment, it's investigation. 10. Gut, the awkward detail that changes everything. Yes, constipation weighs, literally. If the gut is slow, the weight you see can be intestinal contents plus retention. You think you gained weight out of nowhere. You didn't, you're backed up. Often it comes from a messy diet: too much fiber, too little water, too little movement, too little sleep, too many ultra-processed foods. Do you see the pattern? The scale blends water, salt, inflammation, hormones, gut contents, muscle, and stress. Fat is only one part, and often the smaller part short-term. So can I never weigh myself again? You can. Just don't make it a daily ritual that decides your mood. When the scale is useful, to recognize trends over weeks, not hours. To check maintenance after a loss phase. To warn you when you've drifted from the plan for many days. When it becomes a trap. When the number defines your day. When you change your diet because of 300 grams. When you use the scale as punishment, not information. If you love data, make a smart agreement, pick one fixed day per week. Same routine, same time, after using the bathroom, before eating, no heavy training the day before if possible. Record it and compare only to the same day the previous week. That cuts noise and shows a real trend. And even without the scale, you need objective signs. Sign 1, clothes fit. Bodies change in centimeters before kilos. If your belt moves a notch, if your waist feels looser, that's fat leaving, even if weight is stable. Sign 2, hunger between meals. As your body accesses fat more efficiently, hunger becomes less urgent. You can go longer between meals without irritability or obsession. That's metabolic stability. Sign 3, performance and recovery. More energy on waking? Better workouts? Less soreness? Deeper sleep? These signal a shift from survival mode to adaptation mode. That often comes before consistent weight loss. A final warning, many people try to lose weight while the body is sick, inflamed, and stressed. In that state, the body holds water, holds energy, holds appetite. The correct move is to flip the focus, prioritize health so the weight has no defense. That's why aggressive diets work briefly and then fail. They drop weight fast, usually water, but raise stress, worsen sleep, worsen cravings, reduce muscle, and leave you smaller, but weaker, with a slower metabolism. Don't treat a number like a judge. Treat it like a variable. And the variable that tricks you most is daily fluctuation. I've seen it countless times. Someone has a great week, loses inches, sleeps better, trains better. Then the scale rises and they compensate with extreme restriction. 2 days later, hunger, overeating, guilt. Not a discipline problem, a method problem. Breathe. You're not behind. You were measuring the wrong thing. Change the marker, and everything gets clearer. In the next block, you'll know exactly what to measure, when to measure it, and how to interpret it without falling into traps. If you want a way to measure progress without driving yourself crazy, here it is. Stop asking, how much do I weigh, and start asking, what's happening with my abdominal fat? The type of fat most strongly associated with cardiometabolic risk tends to concentrate in the abdominal area, and the simplest way to track this at home is not a scale, but a measuring tape. For the general population, the most useful metric is the waist-to-height ratio. You can measure it in about 60 seconds. Grab a measuring tape, measure your waist at the level of your belly button while standing relaxed and without holding your breath, write the number down in centimeters, and divide it by your height in centimeters. A practical target is below 0.5, meaning your waist should be less than half your height. This works so well because your height doesn't change, while your waist responds directly to what you actually want to reduce: visceral fat and chronic abdominal bloating. It's far more stable than daily body weight. You only need to measure it twice per week. Measuring every day creates the same problem as daily weigh-ins: noise. The goal is clarity, not obsessive control. Now let's get to what truly unlocks results, the engine behind resistant weight. Many people aren't stuck because they eat too much. They're stuck because the body is locked in a specific metabolic state called insulin resistance. Think of weight as smoke and insulin resistance as the fire. When insulin stays elevated frequently, the body becomes excellent at storing energy and terrible at using fat as fuel. You can train hard, sweat, and do cardio, yet still feel stuck because the metabolic brake isn't in your muscles, it's in the hormonal signal telling your body not to burn fat. The lab test that clarifies this most clearly, and that many people never request, is fasting insulin. Not glucose alone and not just hemoglobin A1C. Those values can look normal for a long time while insulin is already elevated and doing damage behind the scenes. If you have a family history of type 2 diabetes, abdominal fat, high blood pressure, fatty liver, polycystic ovary syndrome, or chronic difficulty losing weight, it's worth discussing fasting insulin, fasting glucose, and A1C with your doctor, and in some cases lipid panels and liver markers. One concept that shifts perspective for many people is this: with insulin resistance, the body can produce a large portion of the sugar found in the blood, especially in the morning. This is why some people wake up with high glucose and think, but I didn't eat sugar. In many cases, the liver is releasing glucose because hormonal signaling is dysregulated. This isn't magic, it's physiology, and it improves as metabolic health improves. So let's move into a practical plan, without extremism, focused on maximum results with minimal friction. First, reduce what keeps insulin elevated. This isn't only sweet sugar, but also starches that rapidly convert into sugar, such as bread, pasta, cookies, cereals, processed snacks, and sugary alcoholic drinks. You don't need to be perfectly low carb forever, but you do need a consistent period for the body to regain insulin sensitivity. Second, stop snacking. Even healthy foods, when eaten continuously, keep insulin active. Start with 2 meals per day and no snacks. If that feels too difficult, keep 3 meals and eliminate eating in between. Stability must come before restriction. Third, walk after meals. A 10 to 15-minute walk after lunch or dinner can significantly reduce glucose spikes and metabolic load. It's simple, free, and surprisingly powerful, and for many people it's the habit that finally unlocks progress. Fourth, include protein at every meal. Protein is not a trend, it's a tool. It improves satiety, preserves muscle mass, and increases adherence. Without muscle, metabolism becomes inefficient. With muscle, it becomes resilient. Fifth, prioritize real food and quality fats. Replace packages with plates. Build simple meals around protein, vegetables, and a source of healthy fat, and if carbohydrates are included, choose higher quality options in mindful portions. The more processed a food is, the easier it is to overeat. Sixth, treat sleep as a priority, not a bonus. You cannot compensate for poor sleep with caffeine and willpower. Sleep deprivation alters appetite, lowers stress tolerance, and turns discipline into a constant battle. Sometimes weight loss starts on the pillow. Seventh, train for the body you want to keep. Cardio helps, but strength training sustains. The goal isn't just weight loss, it's maintaining a strong, functional body with energy and independence. Losing muscle to lose weight always comes with a long-term cost. A critical warning about shortcuts: any strategy that rapidly suppresses appetite while causing significant muscle loss may produce short-term results that are difficult to sustain. If weight loss medications are used, they should be paired with adequate protein intake and strength training under supervision. Losing weight while becoming weaker is not a victory. To know whether this is working over the next 4 weeks, track waist measurements, how your clothes fit, hunger between meals, morning energy, and strength and recovery from training. If these improve, internal change is happening, and weight will follow as a consequence. 3 common mistakes silently reset progress. The first is consuming just a little carbohydrate every day. Fat burning doesn't switch on in minutes, and small extras like bread, desserts, or weekend drinks can keep insulin elevated long enough to delay adaptation. The second mistake is eating clean foods as constant snacks, which keeps the body in storage mode. Meals have a beginning and an end, snacking does not. The third mistake is replacing one ultra-processed food with another labeled as fitness. Refined oils, flours, sweeteners, and added fibers can disrupt digestion, increase bloating, and impair satiety. Inflammation matters. Diets high in ultra-processed foods and refined vegetable oils often increase hunger, bloating, and poor recovery. The solution isn't trendy diets but a return to basics: real food, better fats like fish, olive oil, eggs, avocado, nuts in moderation, more vegetables, and fewer products with endless ingredient lists. Supplements may help in specific cases but never replace fundamentals. If medications or health conditions are involved, professional guidance is essential. If your waist hasn't changed after 2 to 3 weeks, check the basics before quitting. Are you truly snack-free? Are you sleeping at least 7 hours most nights? Are you drinking alcohol? Are you training hard without adequate recovery? Is digestion regular and comfortable? Could there be an underlying clinical factor such as hypothyroidism, advanced insulin resistance, sleep apnea, medication effects, or hormonal imbalance? If effort is real and results are zero, investigation matters more than guilt. Finally, don't wait for the mirror to believe in the process. Set behavior-based goals for 14 days, such as walking after dinner, eliminating snacks, going to bed earlier, or strength training 3 times per week. Behavior goals give control, scale goals create anxiety. Evaluate progress only on measurement days. This content is educational and does not replace medical care. If you have diabetes, use glucose-lowering medications, are pregnant, or have chronic conditions, dietary changes should be supervised. Safety always comes first. Remember, the goal is not to chase a number but to build a metabolism that functions without suffering. Apply this plan consistently for 14 days and you'll understand what it feels like to step off the roller coaster. Start today by measuring your waist, writing it down, and choosing one adjustment to begin now. Start small, but start.